The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good yawning this morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It's Wednesday, the 16th of April, 2025, and you are on the clock with Erin Green. It's Wednesday. It's a man down, mashup Wednesday, but we're combining the shows today for a different reason. We've got lots to talk about, and in the midst of it, we're going to have a small segment, a tribute, a look back on the life of Patricia Glinton McCollis, OM. That's the Order of Merit. I think we're going to get to some news at some point in the show. Some headlines: SpaceX landings in Bahamas paused, pending EIA and post-launch report. Now, statement from the Office of the Prime Minister used different language. There have been several conversations I've been witness to questioning the language used in various reports since the government made the statement. I'm just pulling up the statement now. Here's a statement from Latre L. Raming, DOC. Today, the government of the Bahamas announced through the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection the suspension of all SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket landings in the Bahamas, pending a full post-launch investigation. No further clearances will be granted until a full environmental assessment is reviewed. right? And so some people are questioning the language, the word, in fact, suspended, right? I think the language is appropriate. I think what's happening is no cause for alarm within the context of the situation, because this is what we should expect, right? What we should expect is what we were told, that each landing will require separate clearance, approval, and that approval will be given after an environmental assessment. I'm not sure exactly which formal procedure is required to be followed, but that's what we were told. We were told that each individual landing would require individual clearance, and that an impact assessment of some sort would be conducted, and the approval of the next landing is based on the assessment. So, there's nothing nefarious going on. All of the language used, I think, is appropriate. What we could infer is that the impact assessment process is not going according to schedule, or has not been completed within a time frame that will allow SpaceX to maintain its initial schedule of launches and landings. That's it. Now, what I would appreciate from the state and all state actors is the use of very specific language. What is the assessment that is required? What is it officially called? Where in legislation can we find those requirements? This is the type of information that should accompany these statements. Unlike the statement issued by the Office of the Prime Minister yesterday. I'm very disappointed. I think it's perhaps the most polite language I could find. Extremely disappointed. Because it appears as if the Office of the OPM is being used for political purposes. There was nothing substantive in the statement. Why is the Office of the Prime Minister addressing the chairman of the opposition party in that way? None of it was necessary. It's inappropriate. And quite frankly, we're all tired of it. We didn't think that we would have to tell you that in 2025, that we're tired of the games, that we watched you cannibalize the local media to build a supreme press team for the Office of the Prime Minister, and this is what you're producing. We're disappointed. Joining me in studio just now is Mr. Nuri. How you do, Mr. Nuri?
It's good. Sorry that I'm late. How are you doing, though?
I'm good, thank you. Listen, I'm going to take this call, and then I've got one more housekeeping note, and then I've got a big announcement, and then we're going to get into the discussions for today's show. Hey, caller, I come into you right now. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Madam Green.
How you do?
I am wonderful, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I see we running a bit late. Hold the line for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, just hold the line for me. So, first things first, let me just read this text. A baseline of ocean activity cannot seriously happen a few hours before a potentially life-changing event. True baseline studies must be conducted over some established life cycle of ocean life. Anyway, my take on SpaceX, they don't know anything about us or our environment, and in my opinion, they don't care. Nobody told the people in Nassau that we would hear a sonic explosion because they didn't know. The EPP only knows what SpaceX tells them. Sound is in the realm of science and is knowable. Also, to date, absolutely nobody has told us exactly what happened to the power grid during that surprise boom. Because something happened. BEC knows something happened, but they've said nothing. My conclusion, we are at the mercy of easily mesmerized people. As to the other rocket, nobody knew the ground in Ragged Island would shake, as a resident said, like an earthquake. All right, next text, the OPM is responding like MAGA U.S. Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt. She's only 12. That young lady is only 12. We will not speak of her disparagingly. We can't talk about children like that. Okay, so quick transition. That text just now, the text surmises or suspects that BECBPL was impacted negatively by the sonic boom or the travel of the rocket booster across our atmosphere. Watch this. You know what else? Dear Urka, please call BTC and Alive and suggest to them that it may be appropriate, fitting, for them to conduct maintenance exercises after the virtually island-wide power outage. Your equipment was damaged. I don't need a degree, a ladder, a flashlight, a meter to tell you that. In fact, throughout the area of Blair and Johnson Road, there's been significant loss of service, disruption in service. Your equipment has been damaged. Please come out and conduct maintenance. You don't conduct routine maintenance. I mean, if it is routine, it's a comedy routine. You just don't do it. Please. Our infrastructure has been impacted by the power outage, your infrastructure external to our homes, and we would like you to conduct maintenance, assess it, and then repair it. For the love of God, it's 2025. These are the things that we expect. Okay, so I have to announce a new competition. Now, on the line with me, I have my next guest. I'm going to try and pause it for a second. Yeah, we can still hear it. I know where he is. We know where he is. It's an important conversation, and we are accommodating him this morning. But I've got an announcement. Over the last few weeks, you've heard a caller calling in to say that he would like to use On the Clock to host a competition. Well, we are ready to announce the competition. The competition is the Loyalist Charles Farquharson Will Competition. Charles Farquharson was a loyalist of Scottish descent. He received an original Crown grant of 500 acres and settled at Prospect Hill on the east side of Watlings Island, now San Salvador, with the creek to the east and the Great Lake to the west. This is noted by Gail Saunders in 2013. So, here's the competition. The competition is being organized by Mr. Dennis Carlton Bethel, a.k.a. Rice, also known as Rice, affectionately known as Papa, and affectionately known as Uncle Den Rice. He is the great-great-great-great-grandson of the loyalist Charles Farquharson. Now, the competition is being organized in honor or as a part of a process of identifying family information. The prize money and prizes sourced by Mr. Bethel and his fellow fraternity brothers will be nice for some people. These brothers are his fraternity brothers. Dennis Bethel is a member of the Spring 85 line of the Omega Psi Phi Kappa Epsilon chapter, St. Augustine's College, Raleigh, North Carolina. And so their contribution to the competition is in honor of the 40th anniversary of their initiation into the fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Kappa Epsilon chapter. The competition is open to junior school and high school students across the archipelago. The prize will be shared evenly between 3 winners. We're selecting 1 winner from New Providence and Grand Bahama, 1 winner from San Salvador, and 1 winner from the other family islands. So the prize money will be shared evenly between the 3 winners. Students are allowed 1 entry per day until a winning submission is received per category. The competition will end on April 30th, 2025. Caller, you could take your phone off a speaker, please? If no correct answers are received, the competition will be extended. Winners will be announced on May 1st unless the competition is extended. Today, the prize is $200, but the prize money will increase as the organizers collect contributions.
Anwar, let me ask a little bit. Let me ask a little bit.
Put it on.
I
Take
can
it.
hear you through the phone.
Take it off
I on
speaker.
air.
Take it off speaker.
Yeah, but I on air. You just let.
I'm gonna call you back, sir. I can call you back. Winners will be announced on May 1st unless the competition is extended. Right now, the prize money is $200 and it will increase. To win the prize, you must provide this information. To win the prize, you must provide this information. The government recording record of loyalist Charles Farquharson's will. It's very specific. The government recording record of loyalist Charles Farquharson's will. Secondly, you must provide the date of loyalist Charles Farquharson's death. Now, here's how you play. You call the show and you tell us you have an entry for the loyalist Charles Farquharson will competition. You hold the line for the producer. You must give the producer your name, your contact information, the school you attend or the student attends, the grade they're in, and the answers. The host or organizer will contact you to tell you if you have won or to try again. Again, this is the Loyalist Charles Farquharson Will Competition, organized by Mr. Dennis Carlton Bethel. And to win, you must provide 1. The government recording record of Loyalist Charles Farquharson's will, and 2. The date of Loyalist Charles Farquharson's death. Now I'm going to continue every day. I'm going to announce the rules of the show. I'm going to post it on my Facebook wall, on Guardian, and on the Clock Facebook wall, so you can refer to the rules, the requirements every day. 1 submission, 1 entry per day. Now, for the winners of the 13th anniversary Guardian Talk Radio giveaway, your prizes are ready. I told you I had to pause for a moment because someone promised me a special edition to the prizes, and that special edition is a copy of Patricia Clinton McColis's most recent, or the last book that she would have published, called Luska and Other Fantastic Tales. So each winner will get a copy of that book. I needed a few more copies, and someone graciously found them and donated them to the competition. So your prizes are ready for pickup right now. Now let's go back to the phone line. Good morning, caller. Producer, check the line for me, please. Good morning. Hello, hello. Okay, producer, could you call the number that I gave you? It wasn't ringing. He called the line. Let's see if he pops back in. Mm-hmm. No. So the person who was on the line, who I had to hang up from because there was too much sound, I'm trying to get back in touch with them. Absolutely. So just until we get back in touch with that caller, that's our next guest right now. Again, I've just announced the Loyalist Charles Farquharson Will Competition. Competition is organized by Dennis Carlton Bethel, great-great-great-great-grandson of Charles Farquharson. Prize money sourced by himself and his fraternity brothers, and they are appealing for the general public to reach out and support this wonderful academic and socially conscious initiative. To win, you must provide the government recording record of Loyalist Charles Farquharson's will and the date of Loyalist Charles Farquharson's death. Call the show, tell us you have an entry for the competition, hold the line for the producer, give him your name, contact information, school, grade, and the answers, and you'll be contacted to be told whether you won or you can submit again. Okay, I'm ready to move on to the next segment of the show. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Erin Green. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am wonderful. And yourself? I'm better than you.
I feel it. But first of all, I'm glad to have this conversation. I want to say to the audience that I understand where he is right now, and so we're accommodating that and any extra noise we may hear. If you knew what he was doing right now, you would say, well, he's a strong man. So, sir, what am I to call you this morning?
Pardon me?
What is your name?
Oh, yeah, I have I am the man in the Jonkono world with the most alias names. This morning you call me Chief Stinking Goatskin.
All right, we're talking to Chief Stinking Goatskin. This is a two-part, it may even be a three-part conversation on the Valley Boys.
Yes, it is.
Chief Stinking Goatskin tell me he is a member of the Valley Boys, and he could say he is a member of the Valley Boys. So for the first part of this conversation, we're going to go through like a history of the Valley Boys. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Go ahead.
So here's the first question. When was the group known as the Valley Boys started?
Well, the Valley Boys was started officially in 1959-60. That parade. Prior to that, there was a group of fellas together, probably about 15, 16 fellas together. Some of them came from the Pioneers Track and Field Club. Gus was there, but Gus was in the background at that point.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Hold on. How old was Gus at that time?
Gus was still in high school.
Were you a member of the group at that time?
No, ma'am. I was a member of somebody else, but I was watching the Valley Boys very close at that time.
Okay, so you're saying the Valley Boys group was formed officially 1959, 1960.
1959, 1960. When they got the name, the official name, not from Gus Cooper, they got the name from Reverend Michael Eldon and Deanza Burrows.
Michael Eldon and Deanza Burrows?
Yes, ma'am. That's what named the group the Valley Boys.
Now, let me ask you a question quick. Is this history that you're sharing with me or any history of the Valley Boys documented anywhere that the public could access?
Yes, this was documented by Bishop Michael Eldon in the annals of St. George's or Cathedral of St. George's Church. With the founding 18 fellas that signed on when the Valley Boys was officially named the Valley Boys, the grouping.
So you're saying Michael Eldon would have documented this and it would be kept in the records of St. George's Anglican Church?
Yeah, between St. George's and his other church, Cathedral, I think. The Cathedral. He kept the records of the official records as to the first group of fellas that signed on for the Valley Boys.
Now, you use the word officially, right? So what were y'all called before y'all were official?
That was a good question. They had no name. Because, I see some fellas parading around as 1958 Valley Boys. There was no name.
Okay.
We didn't have a name until we won our first parade in 1960, which was the Scottish Highlanders.
So in 1960, the group now known as the Valley Boys won their first parade, but their name was the Scottish Highlanders.
The costume, the theme that we depicted was the Scottish Highlanders in 1960.
Okay, so
that was the first parade one.
So the first winning theme of this sort of not unnamed and loosely organized group, because you didn't have a name, Scottish Highlanders was the theme, and at securing that victory, y'all then coined the name Valley Boys?
Yeah, we decided to give the leadership, because we was using Gus' mother's garage and her yard to do all of this, and we decided to give Gus he was charged with leading the little grouping of fellas.
Okay, so
now,
hold on. Because of the location that y'all were using, the group decided that Gus would be the leader.
Yeah, we was using his facilities. He was crafty, so we decided. But prior to that, it was Edward Fitzgerald, the leader of the groupings, and the head man was George Wilson, a.k.a. Galah.
Okay, so hold on.
Drummers.
George Wilson, a.k.a. Kala.
Yeah.
And Edward Fitzgerald.
Edward Fitzgerald, he was the leader of the grouping.
They were the leaders until the group made the decision that because y'all were using Gus's space, that now, was there official election or this was just like by consensus?
It was basically by consensus. There was never no elections.
For that first shift of leadership, there was no election.
No, everybody just got together and say, man, since we're using Gus facilities, let's make Gus the leader of the group.
Now, when you say using Gus facilities, earlier I thought you said that y'all were using his mother's facilities.
Yeah, that was what was up. That's when I said facilities.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
because that kind of makes sense to me. This your mommy place, but you can talk to your mommy. You in charge.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. Okay, so what year was that? How far after 1960?
But you're looking at basically the same year it was named, all of that came down.
Okay.
We won the first parade. We was dating of the yard and everything. And between 1960 63, we took off as the group started to grow. The group took off.
Okay, who coined Valley Boys?
The answer Burris and Bishop Michael Eldon.
They coined the phrase Valley
Boys.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. Y'all had any women inside your group?
No, that was one of the reasons why we named it the Valley Boys. And I still fighting to try to get it to name the Valley because we got full women now, 100%, 10% women on board.
But man, okay, in this instance, I appreciate wanting to make the group more accessible by having a gender-neutral name, right?
Yeah.
But I think everybody cool with Valley Boys because they call themselves the Valley Girls.
That must be why I haven't fight yet, but I've been putting it forward just in case, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and
it's no big thing.
Yeah, I appreciate recognition that it may cause some people to feel a way, you know? So when Gus assumed or when Gus became the leader, sort of through consensus, did the group employ or use a management or governing structure? Like, how did the group operate? How was it governed?
Well, later years, they decided to do what is the thing named now? A proper structure, with written laws and stuff like that. What you call that, Erin, again? I forget.
A constitution?
A constitution, yes. We had a constitution drawn up. That was when officially Michael Foster was the first appointed chairman of the Valley Boys. Now something went down.
Hold on, repeat that for me.
Boy, that was about 20 years ago, a little more than 20 years ago.
So it's 2025, we're looking about early 2000s, 2004, 2005.
Either that or just a couple of years before that, when Michael Foster was officially the first official chairman of the Valley Boys, not elected, appointed.
Okay, appointed.
But
so
they tried to move him aside because there was some disagreement. They didn't let him know. And when he found out what they was doing, he actually declined the nomination.
Okay, but let's stick a pin there. Michael Eldon, Reverend Michael Eldon, Deanza Burrows, they conceptualized and formed the group. 1959-1960 season, this loose group won its first parade under the theme Scottish Highlanders, and then they assumed their name Valley Boys, and that name was coined by Reverend Michael Eldon and Deanza Burrows.
Yes, wow.
That was a loose group of about 15 to 16 people growing, and at that point, George Wilson and Edward Fitzgerald,
they were the leaders.
They were the leaders. And then y'all, by consensus, decided, because of the circumstances y'all were operating in partially, that y'all would appoint or, by consensus, make Winston Gus Cooper the leader of the organization. Now, before we get to Michael Foster, first chairman appointed in the organization, tell me again, how did the organization work? How did you become a member? How did you all pick themes? Did you have sections?
Well, it was a grouping of fellas, like I said, headed by Edward Fitzgerald, Galah. There were 6 drummers. Galah was the lead drummer. And there's just a group of fellas that loved John Canoe. And they used to rush up and down in Centerville. But Bumpy Watkins, the police and them, John Canoe was considered a nuisance. Mm-hmm. And when they see them, Bumpy them, they used to lock them up and take their instruments, but they would release them because John Canoe was considered, and that's how they formed. But
Hold on. This is all that right there is a whole show, sir. When you say they used to rush up and down in Centerville, what do you mean? They used to practice, or they used to just have rush out in Centerville?
they used to practice for the Christmas holidays, and they used to be rushing up and down the road in the front of Cleso's in that area. But Bumpy Watkins used to lock them up.
See, let me tell you why this is just fascinating to me, right? Because, like you said, at that point in time, a lot of people considered Junkanoo a nuisance, right?
Yeah.
But this particular group was organized by Reverend Michael Eldon. Was he perceived as a rebel at that time?
Well, no, that's because all of the fellas that belonged to that little grouping were constituents of the Centerville, Hawkins Hill Centerville constituency. So they stayed together as a track team. Some of them went to St. George's Church, and then they formed the Junkanoo organization from there.
Okay, so I got a text here that says, "Who is East Bay Service Station?"
East Bay Service Station was a grouping that was formed and done up by Malcolm Garage people at first.
Hold on, Malcolm Garage as a business.
Spurgeon and Malcolm Garage.
Okay, hold on. Say that again. Spurgeon?
Yeah, Spurgeon.
Okay, now
I think East Bay was headed by Spurgeon.
Chief Stinking Goatskin. You hear me call the press secretary for the U.S. White House a child. I's a children too. I don't know who Spurgeon is. Give us some name, man.
Yeah, but Spurgeon was one of the older fellas with East Bay. I don't personally know him, but I know that he was affiliated with East Bay.
Okay, so now tell me, see all the text said Goatskin was, ask your guest who was East Bay Service Station. So tell me.
Malcolm Garage, East Bay.
Okay, but in the context of this Junkanoo conversation, were they launched a group?
Yeah, that group, East Bay, was prior to the Little Valley grouping. It was basically prior to that.
Okay, so there was another Junkanoo group called East Bay that came out of the East Bay Service Station, and you're saying that's Malcolm Garage and
Malcolm
Spurgeon.
Garage, Sparky, Mummy was very instrumental in getting the Valley Boys, quote unquote, their first sponsor from Malcolm Garage, East Bay.
Okay, so the Garage was a sponsor, and they were instrumental in sourcing, giving resources to this grouping that became the Valley Boys.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, them and Model Bakery.
Okay, man. See, I need you to. What I'm saying is, this is fascinating information, right? Now, some people could say I can't call it history yet because it needs to be verified or cross-checked. This is fascinating. So, before the grouping now known as the Valley Boys was formed, there was East Bay Service Station, Malcolm Garage, and you're saying Malcolm's Garage, Spurgeon, and Sparky's Mummy were instrumental in providing this group called the Valley Boys with instruments and tools and resources and support?
Sponsorship from Malcolm Garage.
Okay, so the group's first sponsorship was from Malcolm Garage. Okay, I got two pictures here. Stinking Goatskin. I'm going to try read Chief Stinking Goatskin.
Yeah.
Now, Chief Stinking Goatskin, this session could get even more interesting because in this picture from the newspaper, it says, the caption of the picture says, at a recent meeting of the Valley Boys management team, Mr. Brian Adley was elected chairman and Mr. Stephen Bain deputy chairman. The management team is the primary decision-making body of the group. You familiar with that picture and image?
Yes, I am.
You have a date for that? Because there's no date on the image sent to me.
You're looking at about 30 years ago. I can't give you the exact date, but you're looking at about 30 years ago.
So we're looking between 1995 and 2005.
Yeah, somewhere around thereabouts. And the ironic thing about that is when Michael Foster declined, Mr. Brian Adley was appointed the interim chairman. Today he is still basically an interim chairman. He was never elected the members of the Valley Boys or his committee. He handpicked his committee, and Gus put him there to have elections 3 years later with the constitution that we had, but that never happened. So even he's parading as chairman, he's an interim chairman.
So listen,
extended his duties.
I see why you call yourself stinking goat skin. You ain't afraid of challenge because you know people are going to say,
Chief Stink. I wasn't no regular Indian. I was a chief.
Okay, so there's a lot of history.
Yes, it is.
How much of this history is documented in one place?
Well, it needs to be documented. Let me put it. That's the easiest way to put it. It's not documented. It's not written down. It's recalled from memory, and it needs to be documented.
Okay. So the texter who sent the image said that the picture was taken in 2001. Okay.
That's probably another group, same grouping. That was dictatorship from back then.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Has the Valley Boys, the formal organization, have they ever had elections?
Never. We never went to one man, one vote. It was always dictatorship style, pass on, hand down, use my boy type of thing. We never went to elections.
All right. Now, like I say, goat skin, the pictures say at recent elections, I'd say these people were elected.
Yeah, that's the other side over there doing the dictatorship style that they've been doing for 30 years.
Okay, so
they've been electing their buddies and their friends, and the group had no participation in it.
Okay, so the point that you are offering is that there are images in the media documenting an election of officers in the Valley Boys, but members and long-standing members of the Valley Boys are in contention, are arguing that this was essentially, like loosely, an illegal election because it did not involve the entire membership of the group?
Yeah, but you can't have Erin Green, Madam Green.
Yes, sir.
How could you have an election with no registered membership that you can count, or a written constitution? You can't do those things. That's why I call it a dictatorship thing that they was doing for 30 years.
Okay,
they did away with the constitution. We don't know where they threw that and hide that, and they just was handpicking their friends. Family, lovers.
That's why I asked you a specific question. What was the management or governing structure of the group when it was formed, and then under Gus Cooper's leadership?
Gus Cooper, like I said, Michael Foster walked away when they found out something. He found out something.
Hold on. Let's be careful. Let's be very careful. I think we could pick that up in the second part of the conversation.
Okay.
In this part of the conversation, I wanted to go through a history of the organization from someone who was there almost at its inception, who was a part of Junkanoo when it was conceived.
Okay.
Right? A text says, Brian was elected, the other section heads were appointed. Only Doyle Burrows, Dr. William Thompson, and Ed McPhee can tell you the true Valley Boys history. Now, Texter, I can be honest with you. You have to follow that up with a why. Why is it that they're the only people who could tell us the true Valley Boys history? That's, like, for me, that's it. I am weighing information, but tell us why Doyle Burrows, Dr. William Thompson, and Ed McPhee are the only people who could tell us the true Valley Boys history. And here's a second point. From 1958 to 2025, Why is it that there is no documented, written down, verified, or endorsed even by any faction of the Valley Boys? Why is there no documented, written history? Because 58 to 25, that's 50 years would take us to 2008, and then we're talking another 17 years. That's 67 years of oral history and memory.
You know,
Because hold on,
Erin,
for me as a young person, a youngish person, because I'm about to be 50 in a couple years, I want to tell you who is supposed to validate this history 67 years later if nothing has been formally documented.
no, they also said that only three persons can give the history. That's not so. That when Brian assumed the responsibilities, that's when I told you Michael Foster walked away. He declined, so they made Brian the grouping in the hotel. That didn't tell Foster, the chairman, the then chairman, that they was having a meeting. When Foster went and found out, he resigned right then. Brian was appointed right
Okay,
there with
stick
a
a
small
pin.
grouping, a handful of people.
Stick a pin. Stick a pin. I didn't even want to go that far yet, but here we are. I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
I, Now, Goatskin, when I have you back on the show, I'm going to ask you some questions. I can send you all the questions ahead of time, but I'm going to ask you some questions based on the information that was contributed to this discussion today by other listeners. And if you don't mind, I have to invite other people if they would like to join the conversation. I have to invite them as well, okay?
That ain't no problem.
Okay, good
The
stuff.
truth, my grandma used to tell me, the truth don't need no other leg to stand on.
I got you. I got you. Anyway, I think this is an important conversation for the entire nation. Not just the Valley Boys, not just Junkanoo. There's so many things about ourselves we will learn. There's so many things about ourselves we should see and commit to resolving. But most of all, for me, it's about the need to document processes, the need to manage and operate organizations professionally so that we can document history properly.
Yeah, we need to.
You hear the music?
Green.
Yes, sir.
Before you, let me say this last thing before I go, and we do go into number two. I can tell you, when Michael Foster came from school, that was 1982-83. When Patrick Adley came to the Valley Boys, that was in 89-90. When Brian Adley came to the Valley Boys, that was 1996.
Okay,
When Chief Stinking Goatskin came to the Valley, that was 74-75.
I got you. Listen,
So I just want to put that out there prior to the next show.
absolutely. I want to say thank you to Chief Stinking Goatskin, but he is currently undergoing some medical procedure, and we thank you for spending some energy and time with us this morning. We got people talking. You got people
That's
talking,
right.
and you got my board lit up. I got to go to a break. We're going to transition. I think I take these calls. Producer, I can take these calls now? On the other side of the break, callers, if you could hold. If
Okay.
not, please call back. Chief Stinking Goatskin, take care of yourself. You have a
Yes,
good
ma'am.
day, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Same to you.
Blessings. You're on the clock with Erin Green. We're going to a break. Callers, if you can't hold the line, call back.
Our heroes left us a race to run. Let's protect our sovereignty. Yes, together in harmony.
Wait, you know what going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
But he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know, John, you don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you want?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody. I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me next.
Alright, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So what are the boy?
All you gotta do is call them or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info? And when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then if you get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Calls 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Sun comes up with a burning glow, shines down on paradise below. I'm talking about the Bahamas, you know, our beautiful archipelago. Now go, 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 brag about me beauty. Tell them we friendly. Oh, tell them we proud of we country. Tell them they could come see. Then say I'm proud to be a Bahamian, proud to be a Bahamian, proud to be a Bahamian, yes, God gave this land to me.
Good morning and welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Green. Somebody just quoted my own words back to me. They said, Erin, how could you all say something so exciting amongst excitable people and don't expect excitement? If you heard that conversation and you say, oh, no, I got some history I need to add to this conversation, or I have some history that's different from what's being shared, reach out to me, reach out to the station. My producer's a Junkunu man. He gonna get the information to me. These are the conversations we need to be having. Now, I'm gonna go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning, Miss Green. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Right, I'm not a great historian when it comes to Junkunu, right?
Yes, sir.
But I'm a futurist.
Yes, sir.
And the futurist, I'm going to rub my crystal ball right now. And the future says that if the Valley boys don't get their act together, they will get beat again. Boxing Day and New Year's Junkunu.
Use the Saxons, eh?
How you know?
I mean, because I could hear it in your spirit. I's the spirit. I from the greatest scrap group in the history of Junkunu white people in the whole world, except for the pigs and the Methuselahs.
Okay, I'm going to say something right now, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you finish the sentence, Saxons,
in
you're supposed to finish it.
In your belly?
Ah, there you go.
Okay. My mommy's a Saxon, so I had to get it right. Even if I didn't want to say it, I had to get it right. Thank you, caller. Producer, let's go to the next caller as we prepare to transition. Good morning, caller.
A pleasant good morning, Miss Green.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I hope you don't mind me calling your show this morning.
Given the subject matter, sir, the floor is yours for a moment. Come on.
I thank you so very much.
Yes, sir.
For all the past of last year and everything. It's a new year, it's a new day.
Yes, sir.
And it's a beautiful new country.
Yes, sir.
To all my countrymen out there, this is Sparky. I'm not the same as you last saw me. I'm having some health issues also, Miss Green.
Yes, sir.
Very serious, very serious. Never thought it was going to happen to me. But God bless May the 4th this year. I will be turning 74.
Blessings.
God bless it. I got brave by 31 days, I think. And on your subject this morning, Miss Green,
yes, sir.
I've told many people for many years From 1958, I've been screaming about it. I finally got the documents and everything and put them in Trevor's hand. Trevor has delivered to him a very, very big photo of my mother. And it was given back to me by Gus Cooper's wife, Cassie, a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
She said Gus had this in his drawing room for years, and she's lost it. She said if Gus know but the row was going on in the Valley Boys, he will turn over in his grave.
Mm-hmm.
And she called me to pick up the photo. And there's the photo that I gave Gus Cooper the night when they had the election in St. George's schoolroom way back when. The night when Michael was named chairman or whatever it was, and Gus was named leader for life. I gave Gus Cooper the picture of my mother, Gwendolyn Mercedes Joy, then spin the fountain. I said, sir, what I want you to do with this, because they were talking about building a building to house the Valley Boys like a heroes club.
Yes.
I said, when you build the building, this is Aunt Gwenny now. He said, yeah, that's Aunt Gwenny.
Mm-hmm.
I said, now you hold this picture on the front wall. And he said, that's where it's going. He said, and with the picture, I told him, I say, and with the Gwenny there.
Yeah.
I said, put Gonga there. Gonga is Gus' mother. I said, and all the men and the women in the valley, put all of them on pictures of the walls to honor all the old people that allowed those young men to go to Bay Street. Because back then, going to Bay Street was taboo.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying Reverend Michael Elder.
Let me tell the story, please. Give me the moment. Police used to run us off the corner, Carew Street West.
Yes, sir.
On Friday nights when we come to practice, police patrol cars used to come around there, and when we see them coming, we running through people's yard, running over rocks, some of us falling in people's water wells, running away from the police, because they used to arrest us for practicing saying disturbing the peace.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through that, and I went in 1958 at 7 years old because my brothers and those couldn't go to Bay Street and leave me home by myself.
Mm-hmm.
My mother worked 2 jobs, Malcolm in the day and a switchboard operator at the hospital at night. My father was a bartender. After church service Christmas night, him and his brothers and his boys went out drinking and partying. That left me home by myself.
Sparky.
So they made a little costume for me to take the Valley Boys first banner from 10th Street. At 7 years old, I had to go down there. Me and Philip Box Fountain took the first banner on Bay Street.
Now,
I remember leaving 10th Street East, at the corner where Bahamas Bus and Truck is, and Gus Cooper's old man garage, marching on to Madera Street, over Centerville, by the Stop and Shop, Malcolm gas station, where we waited for the police to let us in. Now, you know, Miss Green, there's another thing people will say somebody else started. You know that thing, but they come in?
Yeah. That's Valley too. Now listen, Sparky, the next time I row you is because you haven't documented this history. I'm fascinated. I don't even want you see Cecil this next hour, but we got another important conversation in the next hour. Thank you for calling to share that history. Indeed, your mother was a part of the founding of the group known as the Valley Boys. Blessings to you. Good health and recovery to you, sir. We are all out of time, but I think this is a fitting way to lead into the next segment of the show, which is a tribute to Patricia Glinton McCollis. She believed in resurrection. She believed in reconciliation. She believed in community. She believed in coming together to celebrate us. On the next hour, we're going to continue that conversation. As we close the show, I want to say thank you to everybody that called. And thank you. I got a text that said that they would like to contribute to the prize for the Loyalist Charles Farquharson Will competition. And last of all, I got to say thank you to whoever gives C.A. Nuridi's fancy cup wrap-up and bag and with tie. They just fancy. I love it. Hutchinson, thank you, Hutchinson. And Miss Delarise, I'm going to give you a call. This is the Fox Hill, Tamron, and Dilly woman. I could give you a call. Look for Delarice and Fox Hill. To my producer, thank you very much. To the people who joined the conversation through text and calls, thank you. On the Clock is signing off, and Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri is up next.
The Bahamas is our home. Sing proud.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streamradio.com, and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.